I think it will be multinational. It will not just be one country. It will be multiple countries. If you can't see this happening, you are out of your mind. More extreme, how? Well, how do you think? Like, really, how do you think? Bro, what? Everybody calls me crazy. Go ahead. Go ahead, and we'll see what happens.
Angry demonstrators took to the area following accusations of a Malian man raping a Spanish woman.
Oh.
This commentator applauded the rebellion, saying it's about time. Push back before it's too late.
Yep, and I think that's the way that they're going to look at it, is they're going to see this as, and I think this might accelerate the process of it more, is that these people are probably going to be worried that basically as like the demographics of the country change, or more of these people come into the country, or they become more integrated into the country, that the ability for them to push back against it will be weakened, which is accurate. And so I think that's true, right? Because like if it's a smaller percentage of people, it's easier to push back against them just logically. And so what will be the turning point? What will cause it? They'll be outnumbered soon. It doesn't matter if you're outnumbered. Like being outnumbered matters, like in terms of like some things, but it's not really a big that's not a big reason for why something like this would cause it to happen. Yeah, it's not the first time. Well, yeah, and also like I think that there's a lot of people that really underestimate how brutal people can be if they get together and they have like some sort of like fucking cause that they're going after. Like if you look at like history, a lot of really, really big movements happen by very small groups of people who are just extreme militant zealots. So the entire idea of being outnumbered, like I mean, you still get 300, right? But like that's like it's like I don't think that. By the way, I don't think this is a good thing. I think that the ultimate outcome for this is going to be an authoritarian, hyper-fascist state that is completely suppressive to any sort of viewpoint that's contrary to the state. I think that basically this illegal migration stuff, what it's going to do is it's going to create the opposite pendulum effect. And yes, it will remove like a lot of these migrant problems, but it will replace the migrant problems with new problems. It's not like this is going to just happen and all the problems are going to go away. No, they're just going to be replaced with new problems. That's what I'm saying.
It's time now for our press review with Elitsa Gadeva. Elitsa, you've got more on that announcement from Emmanuel Macron.
Look at the downvotes on this. People hated this video. They were mad.
About that high...
Sorry, Zach, you're not on the money here. The Spanish government is letting them in. It's not the same here. You're right. I might not fully understand the way it is for you. And I'm kind of looking at it from the perspective of an American who's had kind of the similar thing happen. So if I'm not totally understanding it correctly, that's fine. But I'm just basing it off of what my experience is from what I've seen and learned in history.
In defense spending.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Caris. The now famous sentence of Emmanuel Macron, to be free, we must be feared, is on the front page of the French daily Le Telegram. The French president also said that since the world wars, freedom has never been so threatened. And according to a poll in French right-wing paper Le Figaro, 7 out of 10 French people approve the new defense budget. And the headline here reads, amid crisis, the French endorse their army.
And
I wonder why.
An announcement, of course, that coincides with France's National Day this Monday.
That's right. And French daily Aujourd'hui en France here has more details on the parade that we're expecting very soon. There will be around 7,000 men and women marching on the Champs-Élysées, nearly 70 military planes, 35 helicopters, and more than 200 horses are expected there. And French conservative Lacroix, however, has decided to focus on the opening act, the presence of Indonesia as the honorary guest, and the
local town has been making headlines.
That's right. And British left-wing The Guardian here reports that several people have been injured after anti-migrant unrest in Torre Pacheco. That's a town in southeast.
We get closer to New Age Hitlers and armies rising up for World War III, like you said. Yeah, I said this is what was going to happen. Like, again, like, because people are getting, like, I don't think that people understand how radicalizing this is making so many people.
Of Spain, and the clashes there started on Friday, but tensions have been...
Will I cover World War III for us? Who would fight in World War III? Well, I don't really think it's going to be much of a fight. That's why I said, like, I think that what's going to happen is that people will empower their government to forcibly remove a lot of these different, like, immigrants. And I think that a lot of that will be violent. I think that's what's going to happen. I have a pretty good feeling that that's what's going to happen. I don't know which country is going to do it first, but in the same way that I think that, like, you think about how El Salvador arresting a bunch of those people kind of changed the Overton window about how incarceration and how policing should be done, because it showed that, for example, like, if you do arrest a bunch of people, then, you know, the crime is going to go down massively. I think that as soon as one country does this, and, like, if it gets rid of the illegals, I think that many other countries will follow it immediately. And I think the same thing happened recently with, like, businesses here in America. As soon as Elon fired 80% of the people and the staff, you know, at Twitter, and then Twitter worked the same way, how many other businesses went and they did the exact same thing? So as soon as somebody breaks the ice with doing one of these things and these actions, and it gives these people what they're looking for, then everybody is going to start doing it. It doesn't always work, by the way. No, nothing always works, and I think that it will be an overall negative. It will be, and it's basically a really bad. It's basically a bad climax of a problem that was allowed to fester for long enough. And people who had reasonable pushback against it were marginalized for long enough that now they've become radicalized. That's what's happened.
Already since last, when a 60-year-old man was reportedly attacked by 3 men of North African origin, and Spanish daily El País here reports that right-wing groups have been threatening to hunt down migrants, and El País spoke to a migrant in Torre Pacheco who was one of the people provoked, and he said that he was...
And anybody who thinks this is a good thing is delusional. There's nothing good about vigilante gangs running around and hunting down people who they think are migrants. This is not a good thing at all.
He's not aggressed by people from his neighborhood or locals, but rather people who are coming from across the region, who have been organizing on social media and right-wing groups there, and are coming to the town to, quote, hunt down on migrants.
That's right.
All right, so do we have anything on the bigger picture of migration in Spain?
Indeed, we do. Spanish daily El Mundo here says that 70% of Spaniards support deportations of illegal migrants, and that's a motion proposed by Spain's right-wing party, Vox.
See?
And an editorial...
70% is huge. Also, keep in mind, by the way, here in America, it's only about 52 to 60%. So this is like another, like, what would that be? Like 20% more in Spain.
here by El País says that Vox is, quote, manipulating immigration.
I don't know about that.
El País here says
70's
that
insane.
Vox
70's
is
crazy.
using radicalized and xenophobic discourse and sometimes even conspiracy theories to justify the need to deport migrants.
All right, well, staying on the topic of immigration, but now in the United States, you have a story on the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement.
This is some other bullshit, right? And people with Spanish spoken, yeah, exactly. They're asking because the illegals too. I think that people are delusional whenever they say that this is going to stop with the illegals. This will not stop with the illegal aliens. That will be the beginning. Obviously, they're going to start with them. Let me make sure I go back to this. And but that will be where it begins. It will not be where it ends. And so let me go back over here. Migrants here's more of these right here. And there's even this is even like a live video too. Holy fuck. Yeah, let me see if I can find this. This doesn't really seem that. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go. Yep. See if people be like, never want to travel to other countries. Just say we have zero migrants. It's easier for people like me who say they never want to travel to other countries. Say we should have zero migrants. Wait, what? Wait, what? What is this? You think like wait? So you think that I'm against tourism? Why are you so anti-illegal immigration? Zero immigrant policy is insane. I'm just let me understand this real quick. What's your point of view here? So like because so let me get this straight. So you think that immigration is the same thing as tourism? What? What are you even talking about? Yeah, I don't even understand that. Not just tourism, legally living and working abroad. I don't think that any country has an obligation to allow people who aren't citizens in their country to come in and take advantage of their economy or to benefit from their economy. So, like, I don't think that China has an obligation to allow Americans to come into China and to live in China or to take advantage of China's economy. Same as Japan, same as Russia, same as Saudi Arabia or anything else. And I think this is true with any country. I think any country is totally right and justified to enforce its borders and enforce its immigration policy in a way that is in the best interest of the people that are voting for them, not in the best interest of an idea, but in the best interest of the individual people that live there and what they want and what they need. That's logical, right? And I think that's very fair. I mean, do you disagree with this? Do you think that people shouldn't be able to choose their immigration policies? Take advantage? Well, yeah, they're taking advantage of it. Obviously they are. They're coming to this country and they're taking advantage of it. The same as I would take advantage of a sale at a store. Like, you're thinking of taking advantage as like a bad thing, but I'm just saying taking advantage of as in benefit from. And so like if you're unhappy with like that term or that vocabulary, that's fine. But like at the end of the day, it's still the same point. The point that I'm making is that when I worked in another country, actually China and Japan, I had to pay taxes for all the laws. Exactly. But you don't think that China and do you think China and Japan have a moral obligation to allow you to do that? Do you think China and Japan, they have a moral obligation to allow you to come to their country and make money there and work there and live there? They choose to. Well, I'll let this person respond one more time. Then I want to move on and look at some other stuff. No, not at all. I think it's in their economic interest. So, okay. So basically what you're saying is that if it's not in the economic interest of the country, then they shouldn't allow the migrants in the country, right? So if it's not in the country's economic interest, then you shouldn't allow them in. Logically, that's your argument? Because, like, I mean, the fact is, like, I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that. If it's not in the country's economic interest, there's no reason for them to be there. Correct. I agree with you there. I disagree with you that it's against the economic interest. So you think that bringing in a bunch of foreign workers that don't even speak the same language as the people that are living in this country are a positive net? So let me, at what point does that become true? Or does that become not true? Because, like, obviously, if you imported every single person from some other random country into Spain, this would not make Spain a better country, right? So very logically, you have to think about this as a concept. More migration does not just equal more and more money. And also, I think that a lot of the GDP gains and the economic gains that are seen from exploiting migrant labor are only experienced by the 1% of the population. Like, a lot of average Spaniards or Americans aren't seeing these gains in the same way that, you know, you have 1% stock owners, business owners, and, you know, high-level corporations that are experiencing these gains and these values. So I think that you're making an art, like, for example, this is a really great way to look at it. Let me see if he responded again. No, they must speak the language of the host country. I'm arguing for high-skilled legal immigrants. Okay, yeah, sure, of course, yeah. All right, that's fine. So then we agree. Okay, yeah, I think that it's fine to have some immigrants come into the country that are high-skilled. Everybody agrees with that. I mean, didn't I tweet that myself? Like, I mean, look, I can scroll down too. Like, where is it? Using H-1B1 visas to appoint genuine S-tier talent is good. I literally tweeted this out myself. Like, this has always been my viewpoint. I've never changed my opinion on this ever. In Portugal, bro, you're the only one in America that's covered the Serbian protests, which for that I'm grateful. America is completely oblivious to outside events. Well, do you guys want to know one of the reasons why I cover a lot of the events that are like multinational and international? I'll go ahead and I'll show you why. Let me pull up my analytics, and we're going to look at some of my viewers. Let's see if I can find it here. Here we go. I think I can just show this. It doesn't really matter. So only less than half of my viewers are actually from America. That's one of the big reasons why. So a lot of you guys come from other locations, and you're not from the U.S. in the first place. And so, like, that's it. I mean, like, the U.S. only has 300 and something million people in it, right? There's 7 billion people in the world. So, yeah, I mean, like, France, yeah, you've got France. I'll pull this up and show everybody, right? India, Norway, Russia, Netherlands, Poland, Sweden, Germany, Canada. Yeah, so there we go. And so I have a lot of viewers from a lot of different places and locations. I would say you have the viewers because you cover this stuff. Well, yeah, because, like, and this is the problem, is that, again, for me, like, my moment that I realized how much of a bubble that American media was the Serbia government collapse with Assad. Like, I had no idea this was even happening, and then I had a friend of mine showing me photos that because his family's from, not Serbia, sorry, Syria? Excuse me, Syria. His family's from Syria, and showing me photos of them, like, fucking tearing down statues and this entire place going crazy. And I didn't even know this happened. And I was like, okay, wow, like, I need to spend more time looking outside of just the obvious stuff. And so you take on every situation in the most non-biased and non-political way. Yeah, well, I try to be fair, right? Serbia, and also, to be fair, Serbia also had those riots. What were the Serbia riots for again? Oh, the collapsed train station. And then the Chinese, like, workers that were, like, the bullshit there and the lack of accountability, if I'm remembering correctly. That's what it was. And that was, like, kind of an indicator of other problems. And same relative percentage population watching you from the U.S. and the Netherlands, which is pretty crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think so too. And, like, I mean, again, I think this is a very good thing. That's one of the reasons why I spend so much time, what do you call it? That's the reason why I spend so much time doing this, is because I like being able to talk about this stuff, because at least somebody is. Because many people are not talking about it at all. And what's this here? Yeah, you still live in a bubble because you don't know what's happening and it is happening after Assad collapse? No, I don't. I mean, I can't know everything, right? But at least the awareness of knowing that you don't know everything is better than, you know, not even, or thinking that you do. So yeah, let me go back. I'll see if there's a couple more of these here. Oh, there's this one too. Oh my God. Jesus. Anti-migrant groups clash with riot police. There's a 68-year-old man. That's how old that guy was. Oh my God. No, the fight is, it's happening here. Yeah. You don't know every detail of every social event in every country? No, I don't. I'm not an expert in all of it, right? But I just try to, I miss you, Excellency, but I never thought I'd say this as prime content. Yeah, true. Want peace? Let's cross the red line. Yeah, we'll see what happens. Right, scooter, I'm afraid of being hit by a bottle. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, place is going crazy. And so that's it. And so, like, we got all this going on. Like, shit's going absolutely crazy.
Clashes flared between the Spanish and migrant youths overnight, as locals uncovered a group chat calling on migrants to go for the Spaniards.
Oh, boy. Yep.
Residents took to X saying groups of Moroccan youths were attacking lone locals. Violence erupted after a 60-year-old man was attacked in the town of Torre Pacheco, which was blamed on the town's migrant community, though no arrests have been made. Furious locals confronted one man of Moroccan origin who took out his phone to show he had nothing to do with the attack. But in doing so, locals saw a group chat which called on migrants to go for the Spaniards.
What does this say? What does this say in American? Now, I don't know what this means. It actually just says go for the Spaniards. Okay.
This was live-streamed and went viral around Spain, seeming to confirm locals' fears the migrants wanted to attack them. Clashes ensued as Spaniards accused the police of targeting them.
Targeting them? Yeah, definitely. Go for the Spaniards is a call to action. Yeah, of course it is. I mean, I feel like this is very clearly a two-sided thing. Like, obviously, like, they beat up that guy. Then you had a bunch of, like, pro-nationalist people that went after them. Now they're trying to respond because people in their community got attacked. It's a PvP zone now. Exactly. Are people in Spain allowed to have firearms? I don't know. It's a boiling point? I don't know.
The unrest spread to other parts of Spain.
It's hard to say. Holy. Is he running down with a spear? Oh my God. Holy shit.
The country's version of BBC Verify tried to calm tensions by combating misinformation.
It's fake, yeah, who knows?
But the first comment on YouTube said they are one drink away from saying the old man self-harmed.
Yeah, I think people are over this shit, bro. Like, people are so over this shit. Yeah, and this is also on YouTube. YouTube is a very, it's a pretty open platform, so, like, you can have pretty much whatever opinion you want on YouTube. And because of that, I think that you're going to see a lot of people saying shit like this. It's going to be super common.
Perhaps representing citizens' distrust. National newspaper El País said the Spaniards involved in the clashes had started on the migrant community in Torre Pacheco, who were fearful of further attacks. That there was an organised hunt for the migrants perpetrated by the far right.
Bro, the migrants started the first organised attacks. What are you saying? Well, maybe that's right. I mean, I don't know. Like, I was just assuming that's what the chain of events was. But either way, it's very clearly that this is, at this point now, it's a two-sided thing. Right, they're attacking each other. YouTube censors heavily. YouTube doesn't censor at all compared to other places, though.
It went on to say the groups were outsiders, not locals, who got along well with the migrants. That the Moroccans were in fact Spanish, but they felt alienated from the country, which meant they were unhappy, unemployed, and not studying.
I feel like, I mean, how can you call them Spanish if you're defining them by another ethnicity? I mean, I think that there's very much a racial and an ethnic component to this, and a religious component to this. Like you really, I mean, like if you can't see that, you're out of your mind. You're trying not to see it.
In one clip, a migrant can be seen yelling homophobic epithets to the Spanish residents while waving a Moroccan flag. Clips shared on social media showed multiple injuries. Multiple people had sustained the injuries and there had been at least one arrest. But despite a large police presence, it seemed they had lost control of the streets, as both sides roamed with batons and other weapons. The Conservative head of the Murcian regional government, Fernando Lopez Miras, said in a post on X, Torre Pacheco must get back to normal. I understand the frustration, but nothing justifies violence. Watching on...
I think the problem is that, and this is the reason why people are getting violent right now, is because they've tried to... I think that this has been something that's been going on in a lot of Western countries. I don't really know about Spain particularly. But I think the reason why people are resorting to violence is because having a... he was saying to protect the police, what the fuck? Well, I don't know. But what I'm saying is that violence is always justified. Well, I don't think so. It's that people... they don't feel like there is a democratic or like a diplomatic way of solving this problem, because anybody who has these viewpoints is marginalized. And I think that if you marginalize enough people, you create a extreme radical group. And I think that's clearly what's happening here. And I think this is happening all over Europe.
And Leo and his panel said Britain had to get control of its borders if it's to avoid such scenes repeating themselves here.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living. And maybe there's a solution.
Attack on an elderly man by unknown assailants earlier in the week. 5 people were hurt. 1 was arrested during the unrest in Torre Pacheco, or Pacheco. And it's one of the worst such episodes of unrest in the country Spain has seen in recent decades. So, Paul, I'll say again, I do not want to see this happening in the UK. I hope tensions don't boil over to a point where...
it will happen in the UK. And I think that also, like, and this is what's going to happen, is that as soon as one country is able to have, like, a pushback against this that is successful, I think that what that's going to do is it's going to create a cascading effect that will make a bunch of other people feel emboldened to do it as well. And I think that's really what's going to happen. Like, as soon as, basically, it's going to be like dominoes. As soon as it happens in one place, then it will happen everywhere.
We see similar things. I mean, I guess you could argue we already did last year with Southport under the guise that, you know, at one point this Axel Vidal-Bacana was a small boat migrant.
Yeah.
But is this a sign of things to come?
No, of course it is. I mean, already we've described the people that are the aggressors in this situation are far right. It's not far right to want to protect your community. It's not far right to want to protect your country. It's not far right to want to protect the incumbent culture in which you can well be very proud of without being far right. What's happening in Spain, what's happening in France...
The problem is also that if you call enough people far right, they're going to start agreeing with you. And the issue is that when so many of these people, and this is kind of the issue that happens in the U.S. also, and you can see this with like some of the anti-Jew stuff that's in like social media, is that some of the anti-Jewish media is not in criticism of Israel. It is making a generational criticism on Jewish people as a whole. That will become the norm to the extent that, and people will ignore it, to the extent that you label anybody who has any viewpoints that are even tangential to this as far right. And I think that's really what's happened, is that so many people that have had viewpoints have been labeled as far right, what's ended up being the result of that is that now you have so many people that are alienated by it that the label doesn't mean anything. And also the people that are legitimately far right aren't being taken seriously, and they aren't seen as like any sort of an existential threat or problem to begin with. Because when you put a label on everybody that you disagree with, it's the same thing, and it doesn't really apply to any of them. Whenever you have a label on enough people, people start ignoring the label. That's basically what happens. It's kind of like what happened with racist, right? Is that for a long time, racist was like one of these words that you used to be afraid of. But what happened over time is that that term was just kind of overused, and it went on a DR. You radicalize people? Yeah, exactly. And so now, and the boy who cried wolf, yes, exactly. And once you have enough people, and this is also another big component to it, is that once you have enough people that you have marginalized, they no longer are the margin. You are. And so what happens is that if you radicalize enough people, you can turn those people into a political movement. And I think that's what's happened I think that in a minor way, that's what's happened with Trump in America, is that you've radicalized enough people. And like another good example of this is Duterte in the Philippines. People are radicalized and they voted for somebody whose policy was to kill all the drug dealers. That's it. He won the election. So the idea that this can't happen is outrageous. And the idea that this is only something that's in history, like, oh yeah, it happened like a long time ago. No, this is something that happened like 3 years ago or 5 years ago. It will happen again. And I think the problem is that if you make reasonable discourse impossible, you guarantee unreasonable discourse. And what he's saying is true, but I don't think that what he's saying is the final form. I think the final form of this is people saying, I don't care if you call it far right or not, this is what we're going to do. And that's the next step from what he's saying, because he's still trying to play inside of the rules that these people have created for him. And I think that that's only really happening because there aren't enough people that are extreme enough that can create an apparatus that supports that. That's what's going to happen.
What's happened in the Nordic countries, what will happen in the UK is that people are getting fed up. And Bill, you said that you can't stop this overnight. Of course you can. You have to break laws to stop this overnight. But if the laws don't protect...
That's how you elected Trump? Trump is nothing compared to Duterte. Like they're not even in the same universe. Like I understand like people want to act like Trump is a really bad dude. Oh. It's not even it's nowhere even close.
Actual people, then break every single one of them. I'm sorry, stand on the cliffs of Dover and use force to stop dinghies coming, because every single dinghy is full of at least 50% of people that would cause harm to the culture of this country if they were given the chance.
Send them back to France?
Yeah. I would send them back to wherever they came from. I wouldn't care less.
It's contrary to international maritime law.
I couldn't care less for that either.
It's contrary to international maritime law. Why would anybody give a fuck about international maritime law? Like, who's going to go and arrest them for this? Like, this is, again, this is like an like you're appealing to being, like, this is like Karen argumentation. Oh, but it's against the rules. Fuck the rules. Why would people care about the rules if the rules are set up to make them lose? It's a ridiculous thing to say.
Disagreement.
No, I don't, this is the point. This is the point. We have got to a point. Well, I don't care.
They haven't agreed to France launching a load of dinghies off their coast towards our waters every day.
Just send them back. If those people, just imagine this, Bill, that if you were an aggressor against the UK, you were Russia or somewhere like that, would you not support these immigrants coming across on dinghies to disrupt this country?
Well, I guess yes.
It's a boat, right?
It goes on all throughout the Baltic countries. Right now, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Russia are flooding in immigration to try and undermine those Baltic countries. They've been doing that across Europe for years, and it's happening in the UK. We have to stop it to protect our country. I couldn't care less what law it breaks. At some point, we are going to have to break laws.
And
That's right, exactly. And you see how fast this is changing. Like, I would say even 5 years ago, a lot of this rhetoric would be borderline unthinkable to see on media. Imagine where it's going to be 5 years from now.
view is that you've got to tackle it with proportionate and legal means. So actually getting the French...
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. When the proportionate means, like, there's nothing proportionate about, like, you want to talk about proportional, why did that old guy get beat up? You can't constantly like punish and talk down to and chastise a group of people for not responding proportionally when the other group is always the escalator.
That's not how it works.
They're not doing it, Bill. No, it's a great idea. And if I was an old Labour MP, I would think it was a great idea too, but it's nonsense.
You say it's not happening. It was announced last week, and explicit within the announcement is this will happen in the next few weeks. So, you know, just because something doesn't happen immediately doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Usually when politicians say a few weeks, it means a few years at least.
But it's also... People are tired of waiting for this shit. Like, that's the reason why, and they feel like they're getting bullshitted around, and they should.
That's nonsense, Bill.
It should have given us a date on when it's going to start in that announcement.
Next few weeks.
Bill, yeah, that's not a date. That's ambiguous.
It's not ambiguous because the maximum of a few weeks is 3 or 4 weeks. If it hasn't happened in that time, you'll be right.
Let's have a fiver bet. Let's have a fiver bet on it, Bill. It's not going to happen.
I believe it when I see it. And
Sorry? Let's have a £5 bet on it.
I'd go more than that.
Given Labour's track record on the past year on...
They're going to fix the entire immigration problem in a month. For sure, guys. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's definitely what's going to happen. For sure.
You know, sticking to their promises. I don't think many people are going to buy the saying a few weeks.
And also, I'll just say as well, you say progress doesn't happen immediately. It's not just that progress isn't happening immediately, it's just getting far, far worse.
Going backwards.
Immediately. We're going backwards. 44,000, I think.
We're not.
1,200
right.
since
Net
Starmer met
migration
Macron.
is down by half since the general election. And before you say it, yes, a number of the measures were actually, in the dog days of the last Tory government, agreed. Labour didn't oppose them, and they've actually reduced net migration by 500,000.
I don't think that this person understands what the problem is. They are not happy about the migrants, not only just the ones that are coming, but the ones that are already there at the current point in time. Like the people that are already living there, this is also a problem for apparently people in Spain. This is very clearly also it. And so him trying to make advocacy to, like, this chart shows the line is going down. Yeah, the line is going down, but the problem is caused from when the line wasn't down.
Labour did not reduce net migration by 500,000. The Tories did. They changed the rules on the...
Listen to me, Chloe. I just said that. In the dog days of the Tory government, they implemented those measures. Labour didn't oppose them. They supported them. And that has dramatically reduced migration.
It's fair to say Labour have tried to take credit for that. They were all over social media boasting about it when we heard that the net migration figures had gone down. They're just playing with the numbers. I mean, we had the Transport Minister...
Okay, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people are coming. It matters how many people are there. That's what they don't... They're not getting that. And I think that they are. It's just that that's a more difficult and more politically incorrect conversation to have. But I think that every year and every month that something like this happens, that conversation becomes more and more inevitable.
Earlier.
Have they reduced by half? Yes, they have.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it. You may say, oh, technically they supported the Tories. It wasn't their measure.
All right, great debate. I will just say, for Ofcom reasons, of course, we do not promote illegality or criminality, but I think, Paul, you were referring to breaking laws, international laws, maritime laws, and so on, which isn't the same as domestic British
No, I'm
laws.
not, and I don't want to see any. I don't want to see any violence. What I'm saying is, if you stuck a naval ship at Dover and you used our Royal Navy to stop the immigrants coming across on the dinghies, it would stop very quickly.
Yeah, if they want to do it, they can do it. If you just call a national...
He's right. Look at Trump with the border here in America. They went from having thousands of people coming over to having nobody coming over. He's totally right. If they wanted to stop this problem, they would stop the problem.
National emergency, say the security of men, women, girls, children in this country is under threat, you can do what you want. Or I'd argue you do what you want anyway. Stuff it.
Well, there it is. And so, yeah, it looks like this shit is burning down. And all of this is happening now, too. And you can see very clearly, this was a year ago, right? I mean, this problem was just kind of ignored. And that's it. Like, yeah, and that's why things are going crazy now. Our leaders are tyrants. Remember the fist bump border guard? I don't remember that at all. They'll go on about breaking the law, yet see Russian subs in the water. People don't care about, the thing is that people don't give a shit about the law when the law is done in a way that puts them at a disadvantage. That's the reason why. People will not advocate. Like, there is a lot of like, oh, whoa, it's against the law. This is bad. You're not supposed to do this. It doesn't matter to these people when that happens, and it's still hurting them. And so if the law is set up and it's put in a design that negatively affects people, then that's it. It's not just this. It happened to 3 people closest to the Spanish president found guilty of corruption. Oh, yeah, I have no idea. It's a 15-year problem. It's now hitting its critical mass. Yeah, I mean, like, I've been hearing about, like, illegal migration problems in America. Or, sorry, not America. Europe. I've been hearing about this for, like, my whole life. Like, or not my whole life, but, like, the majority of my adult life, I've been hearing about this. And so, yeah, following law, like not pirating games. Yeah, people don't care about the law at all. Like, I mean, again, like it's very silly to even say that. ICE deports the entire building in minutes? What?
ICE is clearing out New York City Immigration Court.
What?
As we speak.
Yes, but I just... Hold on. I have the right for due process, don't I? So why are you grubbing me like this?
Oh, this guy's got jokes.
Remember, you have the right to remain silent. Don't say anything. Don't answer questions.
Oh, jeez.
The due process is over. That's why they're getting arrested. They're leaving court, not entering. Who's this? Oh, this little guy right here.
Oh, my God. I mean, to be fair, you're going to fish where the fish are, right? I mean, let's be real, right? I mean, you're spawn camping them, yeah.
But are they arresting more than one person? This is crazy. Look how many agents there are. They got bulletproof vests, masks.
And it's just...
Yes, there must be some conversation right now that we're not supposed to know about. But when you watch this stuff, it's...
Trump and Secretary Noem. And this only sets us back with these radical left agendas.
Oh, my God. So they just getting them processed right the fuck out. Half-built tower abandoned as ICE deports the migrant. What the fuck? ICE raids taco trucks, deports an entire parking lot of migrants. The deportation army. What the fuck? Oh my God. Okay, so let me see this.
ICE agents arrest taco vendors and day laborers. What's this
and a
about?
woman selling tacos.
They're actually at Home Depot. They actually went to the spawn points. Bro, there's some gamers in the White House. Too easy? I guess so. Barrel fishing at its finest.
Tacos detained by federal agents.
A chaotic scene as U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents chase after and detain at least half a dozen.
The Home Depot. Oh my God.
People at this Home Depot Monday on San Fernando Road in Cypress Park.
Who's that
Community
guy?
members trying to gather names and birth dates from those being taken into custody in unmarked vehicles.
He just rushed in.
She gone.
Witnesses say they took a woman who had been here in this parking lot under the freeway selling tacos.
They got the lady who sells tacos down here at under the bridge. They got her too.
Diamond Cruz says the agents who arrived in several vans grabbed some of the people she'd been sitting with.
They just rolled up.
They just went and got him.
That's crazy.
Snuck up behind them, chased them, and just grabbed whoever they can. They grabbed 2 of my friends that were sitting right here.
So insane to me. Chloe says she rushed down here to the Home Depot to try and help as many people as she could. Or
help? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna give them like a... I don't know, like maybe a neck pillow for the flight back to where they came from? Like, what are you gonna... You're gonna help them? Help with what?
Protest when she heard about the raid. One man says he saw some of these workers run into this job center set up here in the Home Depot parking lot to use it as a safe haven as they were being chased.
Boy, they're actually running them Oh my God. It is. Wow. Yes.
By the federal agents.
They came through the homeless camp right around the corner from the Home Depot.
Witnesses say they took people from this nearby homeless encampment and detained a man who had been sitting in this chair near the store protesting ICE. In a statement.
Wait, why would you protest them if you know that they can get you? He's just sitting there. Just sitting in the chair, like, what an idiot.
Home Depot said, we aren't notified that ICE activities are going to happen, and in many cases, we don't know that arrests have taken place until after they're over. But these sudden enforcement actions are leaving entire communities on edge.
They're just coming in here, snatching people.
So they raided all the food vendors here, and they raided the day laborers, and then there's a homeless shelter down the street that they went to as well. But now a whole bunch of flea markets are starting to just shut down.
So Stephen Miller, at the beginning of last month, was reportedly asking why they were not at Home Depots and 7-Elevens. And then he berated ICE agents for insufficient deportations, asking, why aren't you at Home Depot? Why aren't you at 7-Eleven? Fast forward to 1 month later, they're at Home Depot and they're at 7-Eleven.
That they
for me? Sean, what time you got?
Well, my watch is fast, but I got 12 till.
Okay, 12 till. And then 12 till 4?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me what that says.
Thomas Gutierrez, 8/3/16, 3:48 a.m. The bottom.
Yeah, go ahead.
Collection of what's that?
By G. Senef.
G. Senef.
Can you read my writing for the number there?
10/11.
Yes.
Homicide.
2016.
2016.
Dash.
0057.
Yes. Can you tell me what I'm doing with these samples?
Check.
What am I doing right now, Tom? Am I sticking them in this box?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This box will go in the envelope, correct?
Yes, sir.
During this whole process, has anybody else handled these samples?
Yes, sir.
And can you see that I'm wearing rubber gloves?
Yes, sir.
All right. I think I might have to take them off to get this evidence to all. Which I will. They're going to take you through what is called our ID bureau. They're going to fingerprint you, photograph you, and then they're going to get you to the county jail. Okay? Thank you for your honesty, Thomas. And I hope everything works out best for you. I need your sandals and your socks in this bag here. Go ahead and put your sandals in there too, please. You can put your foot in here. Fold it up for me if you wouldn't mind, and stick it in there. And then put this one back on where your finger did it. Don't take that with the county. That's not going to be for evidence. Right now, your clothing is considered evidence. Because unfortunately, you have blood on your clothes. One minute, please. Anything in your pockets? Okay. Put a little bit heavier so that should not be as cold as this will. Alright, the last pair we got, that's the best I can do. Here's my card, so that everybody has my information that you need to have contact with, okay? If you want to call me, you're more than welcome to, but once you get represented by an attorney, I'm sure he's going to tell you not to. Okay?
No, you don't have any cuffs on. It's right there. Cuffs are right there. It's on here. Fucking detectives. More officers coming. Here, let me squeeze in here.
Just sit against the wall.
I mean, initiative, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Here's the deal. I'll leave these cuffs sitting on the side outside, not leave you cuffed. Or you gonna sit here and be calm? Here, be calm, sir.
All right. Here's the thing. You come out of that door, we're gonna have some problems. Understood? You need something, you knock on the door, and we'll come to you. Copacetic? All right. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm just here for guard duty, so I don't even know who you are. I just know your last name's Gutierrez. That's all I know.
Hey, Thomas. Alright, we're about ready to run you down, do fingerprints and all that mess.
They said this one's good. He needs to go through it. He's gonna. We'll make sure though before we fucking take him. Yeah, go.
Alright, come on out this way. Is this yours? Did you want this? Yes, sir.
The Columbus Police Department believed that Thomas Gutierrez had murdered Daley Newman, and they did charge him with murder. He was held on $1 million bond. Thomas ultimately pleaded guilty to reckless homicide with a gun, and Daley Newman's parents even asked for mercy in the sentencing of this case, stating that they know Thomas Gutierrez loved their daughter. Thomas was sentenced to 6 years in prison. The ultimate lesson here
一緒に来てほしい。
なぜ我々だ？
理由はいくつかあるけど、この先この土地は人間が多くやってくるかもしれない。お前たちは放っておけば最悪討伐される。そうなるのは見たくないんだ。
先に村の様子見せてほしい。
ああ、わかった。
これは
上級の神聖魔法テレポートってやつだ。
テレポート。
ああ、
お、
なんであんたが。
なんだあの女。
なんでここにいるのよ、ノーキン。
その呼び方、イノシシ女か。
イノシシじゃなくて狼だって言ってるでしょ。
ボス。
クリス、あいつとはどんな関係？
ムカつくバカ？
あ、いや、そうじゃなくて。
よくわかんない。ムカつくから昔から会ったらとりあえず殴り合ってるんだよ。
喧嘩友達ってことか。
今ので307勝378敗かな。
もう腐れ縁だろ。
っていうかノーキン、あんた弱くなったんじゃないの？なんで私に一発でのされてるのさ。
弱くなったんじゃなくて、クリスが強くなったんだよ。ファミリアでウェアウルフから人狼に進化したろ。
あ、そっか。
強くなったな。
当たり前じゃん。私はご主人様の使い魔になって強くしてもらったんだから、あんたみたいな脳筋に負けないのよ。
そうか。
っていうかあんたも契約してもらいなさいよ。
契約？
あんた私に負けたんだから、いつも通り1個命令聞きなさいよね。
わかった。何でもいい。
ってことでご主人様、
仲いいな2人とも。じゃあ契約するよ。お前の名前はガイ
have a nibble or characters or character evaluation. Something that I've seen within the past 5 years is if any of you play Magic the Gathering, if you played Magic Arena, the newest online, like on phone, on computer game, their handling for values and types was not great. Because in a game of Magic, your life starts at 20 points, and there are things to make you increase life, so on and so forth. And the typical goal of the game is to make your opponent be 0. Well, if you're playing a life gain deck and you break the limit of the value or the data type that the programmers have used into, in this case, the number will then become negative. And in the application, it's still reading as a positive number and you're not losing, but it breaks the game effectively. So if you're dealing with larger numbers, and we talk about this later on, there are different types that are good to be used. So again, a regular int, 4 billion to negative 4 billion. Or, I'm sorry, that might be long. I'll Google the actual chart that I'm used to seeing. So right here, we have hundreds, 100,000, million, billion, so 2 billion. So when we actually get to long or short, we'll be able to see the different values and be able to make an inference, or when we actually look at the graph that has all of them on the same page. If we're talking about an unsigned int, so that's where we chop off the negative version, we set the minimum to 0, and we double the maximum range. So in this case, these two numbers is the range of a signed int. These two numbers, the 0 to the 4 billion, is to the unsigned int. So if you know that you're not working with negative numbers and your positive value might exceed the normal limit of the max range, you might want an unsigned version of the variable. I'm not going to bother trying to figure out what that number is, just know that it's very long. And then if we go to the signed version, so if we use the signed keyword or we don't use the signed keyword, this is the value range that we will get. If we go to an unsigned long int or an unsigned long, because a long is just an int, it's just a longer version, we chop off the negative section, we make the minimum 0, and we double the maximum range, which is this insanely big number. And same thing with the short. We're talking about the 32,000 and change to the negative 32,000 and change. But if we make it to an unsigned version, we chop off the negative, make the minimum 0, and the maximum is going to be double the old maximum. So 65,533 or 35. And one load. All right. So So you've heard me talk a lot about literal values or reference the value as a literal. Now, the actual definition of a literal value is the context of computer programming and data representation refers to a fixed value that is directly specified in the source code or program. So that is us as programmers writing the code. We are hard coding or typing in a literal value like 3 or 2 or 1 into the program. There are referred to as literal values. They are constant values, but we don't have to really worry about that in the context of the constant type, which again is not available for use in this course. Just note that literal values, as we type them, if they are not contained in a variable, the literal value itself cannot be manipulated, changed, have an equation ran on it, anything like that. It would have to be stored in a variable for us to be able to manipulate it. So in that is, it is a constant value that is non-computed or derived from other expressions or variables. So it's not the result of an equation. It's not something that anyone using our program would be typing in, because at that point we have to store what they're typing in, so it could be manipulated. Literal values are used to represent specific data types such as numbers, characters, strings, Boolean values, and more. They provide explicit and immediate information to the program, and their values remain constant throughout the execution of the program. So it's not like we type in 3 for whatever, and somehow that 3 is no longer 3. We would have to do something to a variable to change the value. And then as an example, we have 3 different literal values here. We have a string literal, an int literal, and a bool literal. So we have Doug wrapped in quotes being the string literal. We have 23 right here being the int literal. And then we have false right here being the bool literal. So right here, we have an output line where we're saying cout, and then the string literal Doug. So that's what would appear on the console. And then right here, we're calling the pow or power method of the math library. And we're passing in int literal 5 and int literal 2. So effectively what this would do is it would raise 5 to the second power. But these are values that we as programmers have typed in. These are not changeable unless we store them in variables. So right now, before we go on break, we should know the difference between the numeric types. So the floats and doubles being having decimal points and going out to certain spaces past the decimal point, to shorts, ints, and longs being whole numbers and their ranges being wildly different. Understand the size of data, the data type to a certain degree, and then how big the ranges of the short, long, and the signed and unsigned variants of them to allow you to use bigger or smaller values to be stored. And then the term literal value when it refers to a value in of itself. Do we have any questions on that before we go on break? All right, I am going to pause the recording, but I will remain here to answer any questions that may come up. Go ahead and be back at 2:10. All right, continuing on. We have the different arithmetic operators that you've used all throughout school. As soon as it loads, you're going to see a plus, minus, an asterisk for multiplication, and a forward slash for division. The one that you're not going to be used to seeing is the percent sign. What the percent sign is, it's called modulo, modulus, or mod. You are used to division in any form that you may have written in the past. You usually have the remainder and possibly anything left over. Where in programming math, division will get you the quotient, but it will not give you the remaining value. That is what modulus or the percent sign is for. So division will get you the quotient. Percent sign or mod will get you the remainder.
solo way shorty gon' fuck me, she want it ghost. Yeah, I don't really like the energy that you've been fucking with. I'm coming and I send him in the cold. Creepy rolling, walking out the door, the spooky skeleton. We come and kick the dirt upon the road. Look up and pray to my Allah. Talk to my dead friends, they talk a lot. Think I might visit their coffin. I'm hearing voices too often. Coming out the cemetery, boy, you thought it was a sanctuary. Pop a couple sedentary with a Sagittarius. Got me feeling slow. I don't wanna talk about it though. How you gonna get me off the show? I'm on my own. I sell a repost and go to the stove. I do not deal with the devil no more. I do this shit by my low. I'm militia, they come for the throne. I'm blowing smoke. Look over my shoulders for all of my enemies. Stay on my toes, not comatose. Popping that molly, that shit called me nauseous. I'm holding my throat. What? That molly, that shit called me nauseous. I'm holding my throat. What?
Stuck spending your Tuesday night mindlessly scrolling? Set your phone down and dive into refreshment with Kona Big Wave. Pick up Kona Big Wave today and transport yourself to the spirit of aloha, where stress melts away as ocean waves roll in. So unwind, crack one open, and taste the aloha. Kona Big Wave, liquid aloha. Copyright 2025, Kona Brewing Co., St. Louis, Missouri. Mahalo for enjoying responsibly.
Don't compare me to no copies, no competition, cause I kill them like a barkeep. Nobody's talk, all I hear is static. Action no hard till they hear automatic. Ready to got it, you got when you stop it. I'm sick of these fuckers that talk that they got it. Talking that shit, say it once and he froze. Saying it twice, get a shot and get froze. Thirsty for color, you fuckers are hoes. Get off my dick, little bitch, you get hoes. Came for the flows, never came for the hoes. Fame to the bros, propane to the nose. Fall to the dick, what they say, what they know. Cocaine in the brain of the lame to the foes. Ducking and fucking up on the face till they go. Motherfuckers are lucky and feeling great overdose. Can you run it up, what do you looking slow when they don't? Put 40 inside of it, then we wait till the blows. Wait till the fade, put a cave in his face. Motherfuckers wanna bang you, we got it in the streets. Illuminati, I'm get your body, I'm body. I never thought he was out there, only wanted a hobby. Shout out the pastor, he claiming himself. My brother in Europe, he was about to take over anyways, fuck all the clout. We make it the petty way, with or without. Never came for the money, only came for the balls. Rain for the funny, 20 feet to the dome. We making the money, making capital. That boy keep on capping, I'm capping his dome.